Hello, my name is Jamie Lindau, and I'm the Product Development Manager for Trachte Building Systems. Today we're going to talk about a little different topic. That is whether you should buy an existing mini storage instead of building a brand new one. This question has been posed to me by many people over the years, and I have a very simple answer. It depends. In many respects, buying an existing site is good. It's actually the simplest way to get involved with self-storage. You're buying the existing clientele base, you already have it all done, and we're going to talk about that aspect to see what problems you might be buying, making sure that you can keep it full, improve your rents, a lot of things to make it a good purchase. The other thing we're going to look at is if the site you're looking to buy isn't full, why is that? Is there problems with it? How can you potentially turn it around? So 25% of the people who have talked to Trachte Buildings about developing actually buy one. Some of our largest customers today, that is how they actually got started with development. And so it is an incredibly viable option that I'm going to try to give you a good gist of whether it will work for you. When you're looking at whether this site that I'm actually on today is a good one to buy, you're going to come up with the same types of scenarios you look at with a brand new site. One, how is its location? Am I visible from a main road? This site right here is visible from the highway behind you, and it has a traffic count of 8,000 cars a day. That's decent, not bad. So that one passed the test. The next thing you look at is how is the buildings laid out? How does the whole site lay out? Does the gate in the correct location? Is the driveways suitable? What other types of problems with layout? Now, with this particular site we're looking at right here, if you notice in the back, the fence is already in the back. They have no additional land in which to build on. So basically you are buying this particular site, it is complete, there's nothing more you can build with it. So then it becomes a mathematical financial gain. How full is it? How are the rental rates? Can I improve the rental rates? You know, how do they compare to all the other ones? These are some of the issues you're going to have to look at. Now, this building we're looking at here was vintage around 1992. Okay? Some of the other things we're going to look at is what kind of deferred maintenance we have, what other particular problems. Here, this building has a R-panel roof, the lower grade roof, not a standing seam roof. That's a little bit of a downside. The pavement is old. You can see problems. There is some deferred maintenance. We're going to bring this all into our cost analysis to see whether it is a good or bad deal to purchase. In 1992, this type of development never needed a retention pond. So they are just allowing the water to flow into the front storm drain that the city had in the street. And that, if you're buying a site like this, those rules have changed. In this county that we're in, if you had to try to expand this site, if there was more land, you would never be able to do it unless you added a retention pond. Now here is the lowest point of the site. This is where it should be. So what happens if you look to buy this and had extra land in the back, the city will cause you a lot of grief to try to develop it. So a lot of the things that I've talked about in some of my other seminars, you have to correlate when you try to do an addition. One of the advantages if you look to add on to your particular site, it's much easier to add on to an existing self-storage site than it will be to create a brand new one because you're already here. Now, as I've mentioned before in other videos, that the buildings, how far buildings are apart, has changed over the years, what they're allowed. This project is in the state of Wisconsin, and the state of Wisconsin had these buildings had to be 30 feet 1 inch apart back in 1992. So you have plenty of distance between buildings on this particular site. And so that's important. Sometimes you'll look at sites that are only 20 feet or 18 feet apart, and it's hard to get access. This would have good access, so that's a thumbs up. The other thing I'm looking at, look at the shadows on this site. Now, We are in Wisconsin. This is directly north. And what that's telling me is this building has a problem. If you look up on the roof line, that they're going to have water drain on the north side. This building will have ice build up here because this is what you want to avoid. All these roofs should have leaned to the south. They did not. So this is a potential maintenance issue. You want to know before you purchase. This is only in the northern United States. It doesn't matter if you're in Florida or Tennessee or something. Now, one of the things you look at is also what other deferred maintenance with the building there is. I had mentioned earlier that the roof was an R-panel roof, not a standing seam. And the lifetime of this type of roof is around 20 to 25 years. So that you know if you purchase it, if there is any leaking, you would want to check it before you buy. Make sure that there's no leaking in any of the units. But you might have to replace the roof. At Trachte, we know how to help you with that. There's a thing called the roof hugger system to change it. And even this building, you could also change the roof and also change the direction of the roof if you really want to get ornate to make sure all the water drains on the south side, not the north side. The other thing you look at is step grading. Does the water drain properly? Now, this particular project has a lot of steps and the water is draining well. And so that's not a particular problem. This building is holding up fairly well. The doors are fairly well. You might want to make sure you bring in a maintenance program to oil the springs and clean the building off. Buildings that are about 20 years old like this, they will show something called chalking. The steel systems that we use today are about 5 upgrades than what was done in 1992, but it can be continually cleaned and improved. It's not a huge detriment, it's just to make sure it looks clean and vital, you would want to clean it off, because my bet is these have never been cleaned. Now, on the front of this site, they have done some decorative items in which to appeal to the road traffic, which is nice. You want to look at the overall appearance. Is there anything you can change, update, upgrade to make it better? How is their security and gate? This is a small site that's run off-site. There is no manager here. And one of the things you have to look at with this particular site is how are they marketing it? Are they just using the old yellow page type of marketing? Are they on the internet? Do they have a website? If they don't have a website, and this is full, for example, that is an excellent opportunity to even increase its occupancy, or not maybe just occupancy, but increase the rental rate. One of the things you also want to look at is how their rental rate compares to the existing ones nearby. A lot of times you'll see these older sites that are very full because they're in old locations, but the city grew up around them and they kept getting to be a better and better location. But they're scared to raise rents. One of the great opportunities of buying a site is to push rents. Some of the ones in my town of Madison, Wisconsin, they were able to purchase it and up the rents by 20, 25%. That is profit, that's your opportunity. That's what you'll look for when you look to buy a particular site. Now, this one cannot be built on. This is complete, it's done. There's not much more you can do but increase the rental rate and increase its occupancy if there is one. This becomes a financial consideration that you look at. What am I getting as my return? You know, I'm going to go through the calculations a little more in detail. You'll be seeing some paperwork on this particular one. What is my net operating income? What are my expenses? What is the gross income I'm achieving? We're going to talk about some of these issues and kind of lay it out on paper for you. One of the things when you walk around your site, you want to check the locks. If there's one lock on it, it's rented. 2 locks on it, they typically owe money. And if you come across one that's like yellow or green or blue, that means that isn't full. Now you want to help make sure you verify how full it is or not how full it is. And you want to do that and cross-check, because sometimes the cheats that have happened is people have showed you that it's full, but reality the customer hasn't been paying in months and months. They just never got rid of any client. So that's one of the things you'll want to make sure you check out for your due diligence process. One of the questions you always ask yourself when you're looking to buy this site is, why are they selling? And some reasons can be good. I'm retired, I'm getting older, I just want to cash out. I don't like running it anymore. We're moving. I don't live nearby anymore. I just want out. I'm having problems with my partnership that I got to get out. What they might not tell you is I finally got it occupied. The rental rates are up on when I can unload it because I have a lot of problems with this site. Typically, every site has a problem, a mistake that they had made. What you want to do is figure out what that was. Was it my drainage is bad? That is the number one problem that we have. The water doesn't drain out and it ponds and there's skating rinks in the winter, or things they cannot fix. Their gate they put in the wrong location, or there's no way to put a gate in and they want a gate, but I can't get one in there. So I'm just going to sell it and build a brand new one, correct. Many sites you have seen have been sold, resold multiple times because they kept selling it and the next guy didn't figure out what was right or wrong. And this particular site we're looking at has some positive issues, some negative issues. The best positive issue, the location, the traffic count, good. Some of the other items of deferred maintenance, especially the pavement, is the biggest problem. I still don't like some of the maintenance issues you're going to have with the roof, but that is actually fixable. And it's very occupied. So possibly we can get some appreciation with the rental rate. So all in combined, that's what you would look at to determine if you want to go ahead and pull the trigger and buy this or not. Now I hope I've given you some idea of this particular site where we're looking at. We're now going to go to a different site that has different positives and other issues to address, and go over those to give you kind of a nice well-rounded view of things you should think about when you look to purchase a facility. Now here is a different site that's available for sale. Now this one has a lot of different opportunities than the other one. First off, it has a security gate and it has a keypad. Now the gate's open right now, but there is a few problems with the gate keypad. Namely that there is no office here, if you notice in the back, so they're having the gateway in the front. That'll work unless you want to change and actually have an office on this site, which you may want to do because it would work better, easier to rent, and change the management. And so I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. The other thing that this particular site has that's over here to the left that we'll show you is a retention pond. This was built in 2005. Now, that is good because if you look into the back of the site, there's more available land. Now, this whole site has the opportunity of building more buildings and is possibly climate control, possibly building an office, to give you a plethora of changes that can happen on this site to make sure it'll work to your benefit. Now, the first item we're going to talk about this site is the gate. There is no office currently at this site. So the gate is put up front. Here's your keypad to come in, but your keypad to come out, there's a mistake there. That keypad should be on the other side because that's the driver's side when you're actually exiting. So this isn't the most opportune gate. You would want the keypad on the other side. They do have a door in which you can get in and out without going through the gate, but you might want to change that in the future. The next item I'm going to discuss is the retention pond. Now, this was built in 2005, so it had to follow whatever the rules were in 2005 for the retention pond. This is what you're looking at here. So basically, you're retaining the water up to around 4 feet before it'll actually go into the city's storm drain. What you're looking at here is one of the retention areas. This holds the first area to hold water and hold the first runoff that'll drain into the larger retention pond. This is a new requirement since around 2003 in Dane County where this site was located. Now, by me seeing this, that tells me that most likely I can do an addition, okay? You still have to check. If this retention pond is 15 years old, 10 years old, you have to make sure they haven't changed the rules for it. But this is very important. Now we're going to look at the buildings. There's just two basic buildings here. If you go to the left, there obviously looks like a place where you can do more addition. The site is actually much larger than this, and that fence in the back offers even more opportunity to add units. So, when you're looking to add on to the facility, if you're going to purchase a site, my recommendation is to make your contract state that you have to get approval for the additional buildings. Whether they might have been on there originally, you don't know what the city has changed. So if I was buying this site, I would say I will take possession after I know what I can build. That means you're going to have to invest a lot of money to do your engineering, drainage plans, to find out what the city will allow or not allow. But you are not risking anything by buying this site, and then you find out later you can't do any additions. And that has happened many, many times to people. They thought they could build, they just didn't get the guarantee it can build. And it's almost always because of the retention pond, because they didn't realize you have to spend a fortune to be able to build it. Now, with this particular site, the original owner thought he could build 6 small buildings. But the person who's looking to buy it now decided to build 3 much larger buildings and increase the amount of square footage that can be built. Also look to add some climate control. Also look to add an office. For example, at this site, on the end of this building that isn't there, that is where he's going to put the office. But if you have the office here, the gate is actually behind us. It's a mistake. Okay? You're going to want to change the gate. This gate is going to move. The fence is going to move. The gate is going to move. You're going to have to realign it. It will have some cost, but you can change it and make it work for you. There's potential there. You have to understand what those costs are going to be, but you're changing the game. How do you change the game to make this site even more viable and therefore more rentable, therefore more profitable for you? Now, this particular site is much newer, 2005. The buildings are in much better shape. There's no maintenance. It has a standing seam roof, the better roof, and the pavement is in great condition. So this one almost has no deferred maintenance you have to worry about. So it's more ideal as far as that goes. And also the building orientation. Again, we're in Wisconsin. This is going north and south. The sun will get on both sides. You will not have that ice problem on this particular building. So again, you don't have to worry about it. So the differences of that last one we were looking at and this one's a much better layout and also less deferred maintenance. One of the things when you're looking at buying a site, you want to do some due diligence. And that might start by calling the existing site, talking to the manager, whoever is renting the particular unit, and finding out how they present themselves. And to see if they told you every aspect of it. You can see how well they're doing. Just get a feel of their manager and their capabilities. Or any deficiencies. Remember, all deficiencies you see are going to be possibilities for you to improve. We are checking to see how rented the unit is, how full they are. There's a lot of mechanics that you have to do with the existing tenant base. You want to verify that they're there. Hopefully they're on a computer system. You want to, one of the things that you will have to do is switch them to your new tenant agreement if you decide to have a new tenant agreement, or you can use their old existing one. For this particular gentleman buying this one, he is changing the actual name of the facility because he did not like that, plus therefore he has to change the actual tenant agreement. One of the things you look at, this particular site does not take any credit cards. You might want to take credit cards. They do not let you prepay by credit cards, which is why you'd want to take credit cards, is to prepayment. This particular site does not have any computer program whatsoever running it. It's all done by spreadsheets. There is a lot of opportunity. You can improve your facility if you purchase one of the self-storage computer systems that are used, because it will help you raise rates, improve occupancy, and also try to get people to pay in advance, pay it all the time. When we look at each one of the particular units, you want to see what other items you might want to purchase. My suggestion, if you do buy it, you want to update it right away so they know that there's a new basic sheriff in town, and it will lend itself, if you clean it up, you might be able to have an easier time raising the current rental rates up. While you're analyzing the site and its positive and negative attributes, you want to make sure you don't just look at the positives. You want to understand the negatives and then try to minimize them. That will be the best for your success of your particular site. This site just basically has a much better curb appeal. It has the retention pond, it has the chances to add on to it. You can build an office, change the management, trying to increase your rents by doing all these particular things to make it work for you. And there's no real deferred maintenance that you need. So for a solid 10 years, I don't expect you'll have to do a dang thing with this one, other than the normal maintenance of snow plow, keeping it clean, cleaning off the doors, cleaning out the units, the standard procedures. So this one is a much higher rated site to purchase than the older ones on those fronts. But of course, this site might not be as visible as that older one. These are some of the tension-filled things you think about when you look to decide if you're going to build a mini storage or buy one of these existing ones.
Now we're going to talk about, is the deal a good deal or a bad deal? Is the price right? Now, to understand what the price is and if it is a good or bad price, we're going to start with some of the basic components. First of all, you're going to have to look at what the gross annual income is on the site. This is basically all the sales dollars. This is an item that's usually not debatable. You look at the previous 3 years, what the existing owner had shown to the federal government as his actual sales. So that's the first number, gross annual income. Then you want to minus operating expenses. Now, operating expenses are everything it takes to run the facility, from property tax, employee expenses, utilities, insurance, accounting, facility maintenance like snow plowing, lawn care, and then the last is deferred maintenance. And this, you want to look at the total number. Now, in this particular area, you have to be very vigilant because some people underestimate their expenses. Then you take the gross annual income minus expenses equal net operating income. And that's the real number you want to get to. What is the exact net operating income? Because how much you're willing to pay is based on that. Once you get the net operating income, you'll hear words banter about capitalization rate. Basically what that is what percentage of return, if I purchase this entire site for cash, will I be getting, it's called a cash on cash return. And we're not taking into account any depreciation. Currently, a very nice, large facility that's what's called institutional grade are currently selling between 6 and 8% capitalization rate. While a smaller facility that is less desirable to the complete marketplace will be somewhere between 8 and 10% capitalization rate. And so that's a pretty large swing that we're looking at that the facility can be under. Now, one of the things you always look for is upsides. What are some of the upsides that you could have? A lot of times you can take a facility and they might have the rent so low that you think you can increase rents. That's a nice upside. Another thing is they might have an additional land so you can expand the site. That's another upside. That's why you'll pay more money. The last, maybe you can change the management. Maybe they currently have somebody on duty all the time and there's only 25,000 square feet. That's not a very efficient way to run a facility. And if you manage it differently, you'll be able to make more money on the particular site. The flip side of that, there could be, what are the downsides? One of the main downsides you look at is what is the deferred maintenance that the facility can handle. The other one is the city may not allow you to make any changes on this site because it is non-conforming. It might not have a retention pond and everything. This all might mean you're just stuck with this site. You could clean it up a little bit, maybe try to improve the rents, but that's it. So you always look at the upsides and the downsides. So I'm not getting into the specifics with this because there is so much fluctuation. I'm just kind of giving you a general idea of where you look at. So in conclusion, look at this formula I've just written. You have your gross annual income of, let's say, $100,000. You have your expenses that you make sure is clean of $41,000. That gives you a net operating income of $59,000. Let's say maybe I think I could raise the rental rates. I have a chance to maybe add a little, they have a little extra land, add more units. I'm going to pay an 8% capitalization rate on this deal. If I take the $59,000 and divide it by 0.08, that gives me a total of $737,000 that this is worth. If maybe there's a lot of land, a little more land, and I can add a lot more units, I might pay a 7% capitalization rate. That means this value of this property is worth $842,000. So just giving you an idea, that's a $100,000 swing on those particular numbers. But this is all what you want to take into account before you decide on what's the exact sale price that you want to pay.
Hello everyone. It's been a year since I've talked to you last about this site that's behind me. Now this site was purchased and by a new owner, and then the new owner did what I talked about in the last time. Here he had built an office with a big garage behind that he wanted for himself. And then he had built a long 10 by 30, 30-foot wide building that was very long. And if you notice, it bounces up. One is because of steps, and the other because we changed the eave height for getting good accessibility for trucks and trailers into the units that have good backup. As you notice right now, somebody's actually backing up into the unit back there. Now, he's putting in his new gate, which is going to be here. The keypad has been changed to up front. That's where it's going to come in. It's going to come out here. What hasn't happened yet over here, he's going to realign his fence that goes actually down into the retention pond so he gets ample area to plow the snow. We have also added another building behind here, and we will look at a large slab for a future climate-controlled building that he had plans to develop. In the original plan, the existing owner had stopped the buildings the same length as these ones over here, but it didn't make any sense that you should add the buildings and continue it because you don't need an area there which to have open. And here you can use the opportunity to put very big units in. And that's what he had done here, 12 by 30s. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of people think that that doesn't look so good, but I think it looks beautiful because they're all rented immediately. Now, with this 40-foot building he added, the old buildings he had done gable. This building he had lean-toed. So this is a 40-foot wide. He actually raised it a foot in eave height. So therefore, these doors here are 8 foot high. This is our new design building where you get a 9 wide, 8 high building. Each door is 9 wide, 8 high. So therefore, you're getting a little bigger space and it doesn't really cost you that much more. So with the lean-to, you get all the water draining only on one side. There's no water on the other side. and he built it on a 1% grade, so he didn't need the steps that he had on the first phase. Okay? Now, the other thing that he had added right up here, he had it cameras. So the entire site now has cameras for security. And over here, we have the foundation built for a 60 by 200 climate controlled building that he had put in. So he got all the earthwork done at one time, all the pavement done at one time, and this is ready for phase 3. And we have the recessed opening, and all the corner posts in, the gas meter in, and so he's ready for next spring when he plans to put this on. So just showing you a lot of times the opportunities you have when you look at building or buying. In this case, buying was a good thing for the customer because he was able to change the game, improve the layout than what was originally planned, and get enough square footage that the project can support an office and also give you some different size units that are not normally available in the community. I want to thank you for looking at this video and look at all the other Trachte videos concerning self-storage, because we are continually trying to improve our videos and also improve the knowledge to help people make good decisions when they're building their next self-storage site.